Well, now in Scottish, it's time for Late Call, which comes to you from the Reverend Eric Hudson, the Religious Programmes Officer here at Scottish Television.
One of the things I was able to do in my recent study trip to Western Europe was worship with the Church of Scotland congregations in Rome and Paris, and in Geneva, the city that played such an important part in the development of the Reformed faith. In Geneva, the Church of Scotland congregation meets every Sunday in the same building where for several years both John Knox and John Calvin preached their doctrine, and their spirit still lives on in that wee building and in the hearts of the people there. Now, Knox and Calvin have both had a pretty bad press down the years, but I was reminded very much of my Reformed roots in Geneva. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm what they call an ecumeniac, one of these people who are very enthusiastic about the ecumenical movement, churches getting together, Christians working together, and my visit to Geneva didn't change that. But I was reminded very much of my religious roots in that building and with these people. Now, I'm not any less ecumenical for that, and I still have a very happy memory of attending Mass on Ascension Day in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Of course, I couldn't share in the communion, but it was good to be there on such a day. But it is important, whether you're Protestant or Roman Catholic or neither, to be aware of your roots and to remember them and to learn what they mean for you now. Now, of course, I can't know what situation you're in tonight as you're sitting there listening to me. But it may just be that you're feeling lost, that life isn't what it used to be, that you've got somehow onto the wrong track and are wishing you could get out of the rut you're in and back to where you belong. Well, if that's the case, can I suggest that you sit quietly for a few minutes tonight and look back on your roots? Look back and try to remember the people and things that were important once, the example they set you perhaps, maybe even a dim memory of God somewhere in your past, and try to see if somewhere in these memories there's maybe a pointer, a guide, to where you can get back onto the road you were once on and that maybe you'd like to be on again. Our roots are terribly important, and so is the example that good people have given us. You know, very often in churches on a Sunday, prayers of thanksgiving are offered for the blessed departed, all the good people who shared our journey here and aren't with us any longer. That's far more than just a meaningless babble. It's a reminder to us of what other people meant to us, what they did for us, a reminder of why they're still important to us now. In fact, a reminder of where we've come from and where we could still be going. It's the kind of thing that Paul reflected in his letter to the Philippians when he said this: "Fill your minds with those things that are good and that deserve praise, things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. Put into practice what you learned and received from me, both from my words and from my actions. And the God who gives us peace will be with you." If you've lost your way, it's not easy to find your way back. But sometimes it can help just to think of the people who've influenced you, somebody who's moved you to do something great, maybe even somebody who's put you to shame by their simple, pure goodness. It's remembering your roots, where you've come from, what you've been through, where you could be again. Perhaps you can see the power of God in these people, and through the memory of them and what they've meant to you and what they've done for you, you can find that power too. And it is power, I promise you. Oh, not the power that enslaves you or chains you or restricts you, but the power that gives you freedom to be your true self. Freedom from what's troubling you just now, what's chaining you down just now, what's holding you back just now. A whole new kind of life, in fact. If tonight you're feeling a lack of peace in your soul, and you maybe don't know what tomorrow brings, look back to your roots. Look back to the people in the past who've guided you and given you examples to follow. And maybe you'll find that peace of God for your situation now. Is it not at least worth giving it a chance?
And the time here on Scottish is approaching 22 minutes away from 3 o'clock. And here we are in the wee small hours of the morning. A few highlights for later today here on Scottish. At 7:45, Family Fortunes with Les Dennis. And then at 8:15, it's Dig Out the Deck Chairs and the Blackpool Rock or whatever. Summertime Special with Stu Francis. Lulu, Richard Digans, Brian Conley, Grace Kennedy, Norman Collier, and Nino Ferretto, to name but half a dozen. Then at 9:30, some more Tales of the Unexpected, and the big film at 10 o'clock is Coming Home. It stars Jane Fonda, John Voight, and Bruce Dern. Let's now take a look at Saturday's programme rundown here on Scottish. On independent local radio at the moment. In the West on Radio Clyde, you'll find Paul Burchard playing you music through the night and into the morning as well. And in the East on Radio 4th, it's Pop Around the Clock with Ian Wilson. I'm off for my milk round now. Before I go, don't forget to switch off your television set. Good night.